and I certainly don't believe Oklahoma City is going to lose to Dallas. I think the collision course is inevitable, and it's going to be Minnesota versus OKC. Right now, I would have to, me personally, I want to give the edge to the Minnesota Timberwolves. But upon reflection, I definitely thought that Jalen Brunson deserved to be first team. Believe it or not, even ahead of Luka.
Stephen A. Smith's early day comment about Luka not deserving a first-team All-NBA spot is even more notable considering Jalen Brunson was his pick, believe it or not, even ahead of Luka. A guy who averages 34 points, 9 rebounds, and assists, leading his team to 50 wins in the stacked Western Conference. How is he not first-team All-NBA? Stephen A.'s odd beef with Luka dates back 3 or 4 years. Even this year, when Luka scored 70 points, Stephen A. wasn't happy. He was disgusted and disappointed, which is a stark contrast to his reaction when Mitchell and Dame also dropped 70 points, practically begging those guys to come to the Knicks. This ongoing bias extends to this season's MVP race. Despite Luka's phenomenal performances, the praise often goes elsewhere. It's peculiar how certain analysts pick their favorites and stick with them, often overlooking the sheer talent and stats staring them in the face. Stephen A.'s narrative seems more personal than professional when it comes to Luka, which is evident in his contrasting reactions to similar performances by other players. It's high time Luka gets the recognition he truly deserves. When it comes to iconic quotes from NBA legends, Walt Frazier has one of my favorites. "The regular season is where you make your name, but the postseason is where you make your fame." This quote perfectly applies to Luka Doncic. From his first year in the NBA, Luka has shown a knack for hitting clutch shots, especially in the postseason. Consider his shot against the Timberwolves, which mirrors his game winner against the LA Clippers in 2020. Back-to-back, Doncic pulls up for a three-pointer, bang. "I'm in a zone, man. I'm in the Z. They're pissed off. I'm in a zone." Throughout his playoff run, Luka has averaged impressive third and fourth quarter points, shooting 50% overall and 44% from three. Additionally, he ranks first in assists and fifth in plus-minus, solidifying his reputation as a clutch performer. And of course, looking at the second round, who are they playing? The Oklahoma City Thunder. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, is getting tons of hype for the MVP. And Dallas, yet again, are the underdogs against a young Oklahoma City squad. I certainly don't believe Oklahoma City is going to lose to Dallas. I think the collision course is inevitable, and it's going to be Minnesota versus OKC. How about that? This series, much like the Clippers series, saw the Mavericks lose Game 1, go up 2-1, and then blow Game 4, creating a déjà vu moment. But of course, Luka came through yet again in back-to-back crucial games. In Game 5 and Game 6, he averaged 30 points, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds on nearly 57% shooting. Luka's performance in these games was spectacular, particularly his fourth quarter play, all while doing it on essentially one good knee.
I have a long and lengthy relationship with Dame. I got a lot of love for him. I practically begged this man to be in New York City for the New York Knicks. And Donovan Mitchell, who wanted to be in New York, who's from New York, who expected to be wearing a New York Knicks uniform, is dropping 71. What transpired last night in Atlanta was disgraceful. It made me feel like let's just go out and get somebody that don't want. You don't have to play defense. All you got to do is play offense. You don't have to play defense. That's what the hell took place in Atlanta last night. There's a difference.
This man is actually crazy. One of the things I saw online is as follows. This man is not a clown, he is an entire circus. And this man is absolutely right. Stephen A. Smith needs to keep his mouth shut when it comes to Luka. Luka silenced him multiple times, but this guy keeps on talking and talking. Talking about the next matchup in the playoff, Stephen A. chose Minnesota as their favorite. In the meantime, he was riding on the hype train of Anthony Edwards. That's come to a screeching halt, encapsulating the theme of Dallas's playoff run so far. They were a good team, a contending team, but nobody took them seriously as an actual finals threat. In the first round against the Clippers, it was a toss-up series, even with Kawhi Leonard being out. After a devastating Game 4 loss where they nearly made a 30-point comeback, many media members and fans lost faith in Dallas. However, Luka Doncic was brilliant in the last 2 games of that series, averaging 32 points, 12 assists, and 7 rebounds on 44% shooting. And to whoever had the genius marketing idea to put a Dallas to Cancun sign outside the arena, that was the ultimate backfire, the ultimate karma moment, and the ultimate Clippers moment. After that sign went up, Luka turned it up to a 10 and beat them by double digits in 2 straight games. Looking at the Western Conference Finals so far, Minnesota was the heavy favorite to beat Dallas. Personally, I would have given the edge to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Their defense, at times, has been sensational, unlike anything I've seen in the last 30 years. But then, you have to consider who the best player in the series is. Luka? No, it's Anthony Edwards. He's been the standout player in the last 2 series. The media and analysts were eager to crown Anthony Edwards as the king of the NBA and the heir to Jordan's throne. But of course, that hasn't happened. Luka had other plans, and Dallas stole both games in Minnesota. Losing both games at home is devastating, but the way Minnesota lost, crumbling mentally in the fourth quarter, breaks you as a team. Luka scored a game-high 15 points in the fourth quarter of Game 1, totaling 33 for the night. Do you think Dallas, after winning Game 1, would just split and go 1-1 heading back to Dallas? No, Luka ensured they took both games. Well, they had other plans. In Game 2, they came back even stronger, and in the fourth quarter, Kyrie and Luka took over yet again. This iconic moment will live on in Luka Doncic lore, a game-winning jump shot over the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Despite battling injuries, Luka has been playing through pain every single night. It's obvious he isn't 100%, but it's the playoffs, and nobody's 100%. This makes the media's excuses for Anthony Edwards all the more peculiar. Numerous times during the broadcast, they said, well, Ant's looking tired, he's gassed, he's only 22, that happens. I'm just sitting there thinking, what? You guys are calling this guy MJ 2.0, a top 5 player, the face of the NBA? If you're going to put him past Luka, Giannis, and Jokic as the face of the league, he has to be held to a higher standard than, oh well, he's 22, he's gassed. After that game winner, Luka trash-talked Gobert, and the crowd embraced the moment following a dagger shot in Minnesota. Players like Kyrie Irving relish big-time moments and don't shy away from them. Anthony Edwards, on the other hand, came up short numerous times in the fourth quarter. Unlike Edwards, Luka has been a clutch performer since day one. One thing Luka excels at is going on the road and stealing victories. Look at his big games this postseason. Game 5 versus the Clippers in LA, tied 2-2, where he put up 35 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists on 54% shooting. Game 5 versus the Thunder in Oklahoma City, tied 2-2, with a 31-point triple-double on 55% shooting. And, of course, these first 2 games in Minnesota, with yet another 30-point triple-double, including 15 points in the fourth quarter and the game winner in Game 2. Whether you call it championship toughness or mentality, Luka on the road is simply spectacular. However, you can't forget Kyrie Irving, who is a fourth-quarter killer and late-game assassin in his own right. Irving ranks second in points, shooting 45% from the field and an impressive 50% from 3. Thanks to the late-game closing ability of both Luka and Kyrie, the Dallas Mavericks are almost headed back to the NBA Finals for the first time in 15 years. Tonight's shot from Luka will go down in the lore of great Luka shots, further cementing their combined impact on the team's success. So, that right there is the end of the video. And once again, Stephen A. Smith eating humble pie. I'm here for it all day long. This dude's the worst analyst in sports, and yet again, on the verge of being proven wrong by a European superstar. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time.